the fight will be one of those three that I just mentioned?
It's one of those three.
Oh, okay.
I like it. It's one of those three. One thing about Vergil Ortiz, he will fight anybody. Yeah. He's ready. He's on that level. I strongly feel that the names you just mentioned are viable opponents for Vergil Ortiz to make great fights and to see who's the best. And obviously, when you sign up for this sport, you sign up to be a world champion. You sign up to be the best, and that's exactly what Vergil.
Oscar De La Hoya has officially announced what fans have been waiting for. Vergil Ortiz will fight Terence Crawford in a fight that everyone is looking forward to. Boxing fans are excited about this news because Ortiz is now ready to fight one of the sport's all-time pound-for-pound greats. Now the stage is set for an epic fight between a hungry young competitor and a master of battle. When Ortiz thought about the chance to fight Crawford, he talked about what it was like to take on one of the best fighters in the world. It was clear that his goals come from a deep respect for his opponents and a wish to get better. What he said, "Yeah, so look, I love testing myself, you know. When I say I want to fight someone, it's not that I don't like them or anything. It's like I respect them as a fighter, you know. I'm not going to go and call out some guy that's 2 wins and 13 losses, you know. That doesn't do me any good." This quote shows how driven Ortiz and how he doesn't want to take the easy way out. The fact that he respects Crawford as a boxer shows how professional and polite he is. He then talked about why he wants to fight Crawford, in particular stressing his desire to show what he can do against the best boxer in the world. What he said, "So I want to fight the best, you know. I believe Crawford is top 2 or 3 pound for pound in the world, and I would love to test myself against someone like that, you know. I just want to test my ability." Even though the news caused a lot of excitement, Ortiz said that talks were still going on and that he didn't know much about his opponent. He stated his readiness for the February fight regardless of who ends up across the ring. His statement reflects Ortiz's clear focus and no-nonsense attitude. He's not letting the uncertainty of negotiations distract him from his preparation, maintaining the mindset of a fighter ready to give his best.
So as far as I know, that I'm reading on the internet is that there's negotiations are being made at this moment. It could be in February. That's when I'm going to fight. If it's him or not, I'm fighting in February. You know, I really don't know who it's going to be against. Yeah, I think I'm going to fight here in February. So regardless of who it is, it's going to be here. It could be him. It could not be. As I can't really tell you. You know, they don't ask me who I want to fight. You know, they just, if they want to take it, then we'll take it. But like I said, I don't care who I fight.
Ortiz went on to say that he will know who it is while he waits for further proof. "If I say anything, I might be let down, but I think we're on the right track for a successful fight next month." Ortiz's calm response shows that he is mature enough to handle the business side of sports. His patience and skill show that he's ready for the fight and the attention that comes with it. Ortiz was also cautiously optimistic about the current talks. He wouldn't say for sure that things are getting better, but he did give the impression that they were. He has the mind of a fighter who knows how the business side of fighting works because he is patient and positive. Ortiz's skill continues to shine as he maintains a focus on the broader picture.
Names in there: Sebastian Fundora, Terence Crawford, Jaron Ennis. Are we any further afield? Oscar Smiles, are we any further afield with that shortlist?
Yeah, we are. Of course, in due time, we'll be able to say who it is. I don't want to say something and get disappointed, but I think we're on a good track on getting a good.
Terence Crawford, who is famous for being the best welterweight boxer, also said something about Vergil Ortiz. He praised Ortiz's skills and rise to become one of the best rivals in his division.
Vergil Ortiz, how far is he away? How close is he to a title shot in sharing the ring with Bud Crawford?
I don't know, but Vergil, you know, he's right there. You know, he's right there. You know, he's been proven that he belongs with the top fighters in the division. And, you know, who knows, a couple of fights or next fight or whatever the case may be, he might be sharing the ring with Terence Crawford.
Crawford's remarks show his recognition of Ortiz as a worthy challenger, while he stopped short of confirming their match-up directly. His comments show respect for Ortiz's capabilities and his growing position among boxing's elite. Crawford's acknowledgement adds another layer of excitement to the possible clash as fans eagerly await confirmation of one of the most anticipated fights in recent years. Meanwhile, Oscar De La Hoya spoke about the significance of the matchup, showing admiration for Crawford's achievements while building anticipation for what he thinks will be a monumental fight with Ortiz. What he said, "Yeah, no, I'm Crawford. I love him because he's probably the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. His style is fan-friendly. He's a tremendous boxer, undefeated. HOA also praised Crawford's skill and legacy, showing why he is regarded as one of the top fighters. In boxing, his undefeated record and crowd-pleasing style set him apart as a truly special talent in the sport. He stated, he went up in a weight class and he met up with a guy who was really tough. Sometimes you're not going to look as good as you did in your previous fights, fighting smaller guys, and it's okay. It's a learning process. He has to establish himself at 154. He recognized the challenges Crawford faced in adjusting to higher weight classes and tougher opponents. Laho emphasized that such hurdles are part of a boxer's journey and further show Crawford's resilience and adaptability. HOA also predicted the fight's timing and its potential to be a blockbuster event by framing it as a super fight. He raised hopes for what could be one of boxing's most exciting matchups in recent years. Ortiz also shared his thoughts on his next fight, highlighting his readiness to face any opponent, while also reflecting on his desire to create memorable fights for fans.
The toughest guy, not the most dangerous guy, but the toughest guy. But I think that Crawford and Vergil Ortiz next year, first quarter, will be a super fight.
He remarked, it's really, I don't know what fight would be next, but we do have a few names lined up, and that's part of the reason I'm here, to actually talk business and see who will have lined up. Ortiz said that the next steps in his career are still being planned, and although conceded the unpredictability of his next opponent, he showed his willingness to participate in negotiations to determine his future matchups, saying, "But I'm ready for any of those fights. I'm always up for a fantastic fight. I love it when fans approach me and say, 'Man, I loved your fight. It was so exciting, That tickles my funny bone." K emphasized his eagerness and enthusiasm for providing thrilling fights for Ortiz. Tajula boxing is linked to the excitement it brings to fans and the pride he takes in being a part of memorable bouts, saying, it's like, yeah, I did that. So I take pride in that, to be a part of fights that people will enjoy for years to come. Yeah, it's just awesome. Ortiz commented on his passion for creating memorable moments for fans. His dedication to being a fighter who entertains while reaching success distinguishes him as a prominent personality in the sport. Ortiz also expressed his willingness to face either Jaron Andes or Terence Crawford, demonstrating his ambition and emphasis on proving himself as one of the best in the sport, saying, honestly, both. I want both. I really do. I believe that there are some excellent fights to bet, or to stress that he is prepared to face either Andes or Crawford. Recognizing the importance of both matchups, he said that his willingness to take on tough fight shows that he wants to compete at the top level. As I've already said, I don't want to fight people because I have a beef with them, he added. I think they're excellent fighters, and I want to prove it. He said that his goals are not based on competition, but on respect for his opponents. Ortiz said that his goal is to show himself against the best boxer by acting maturely and professionally. I know the fans want those fights, which makes me even more driven and happy to be in those kinds of battles, he said. Ortiz talked about how excited these possible fights make fans and how that makes him want to do better. His desire to put on exciting fights makes him even more of one of the most exciting boxing prospects right now. Malik Nagy talked about the fight's business aspects, focusing on what would happen to Golden Web Marketing, a company involved in promoting and advertising, if Ortiz lost and Crawford took all the momentum.
Crawford doesn't belong to Golden Boy, so if Crawford does beat Vergil, then you end up just keeping your defeated fighter. Take all the momentum is lost, and Crawford will leave and with all the momentum he's taken with him. Usually, you're going to want some kind of option, or at least if you're going to take that kind of a risk fight. Listen, enough money is there, the fights will get made. We've seen that with Turkey.
This comment shows how challenging it is for boxing promotions to find the right balance. A loss can hurt a fighter's future and the promotion's long-term goals. Malik Nagy's analysis underscores the stakes for Ortiz and Golden W Promotions in this fight, shifting his focus. Malik critiqued the trend of framing challenging matchups as tune-up fights and stressed the importance of maintaining authenticity in promoting fights. He stated, "Listen, enough money is there. The fights will get made. We've seen that with Turkey. Elik, I will say this about Turkey, Elik, all due respect here, okay, because I've given criticism and I've given praise. Malikmaji also pointed out past instances where premature plans for high-profile fights undermined immediate matchups, often leading to disastrous results. He stated he's constantly done this before. He did it with AJ and Wilder, where he was planning that fight all while Wilder and John were getting ready to fight. He actually stepped on his own card, where that was the main event, and made it seem like he was going to make AJ and Wilder completely disrespect John. And then John. Malikmaji also criticized the premature framing of Vergil Ortiz as Crawford's next opponent, raising concerns about sidelining other credible matchups. He stated that he did it again before this fight here, making it seem like Vergil Ortiz was next for Crawford when Canelo was out the door, and he wasn't rude to him all of a sudden. "You're treating Bajak like he's a tune-up." Malikmaji said that this strategy disrespects fighters by portraying them as inferior opponents. Fighters framing them as lesser opponents. His comments underlined the importance of recognizing the value of every matchup and the danger at dismissing skilled boxers as tune-ups. He continued to stress the importance of keeping consistency and fairness in promoting fights, while acknowledging the quality of recent matchups. He stated, "Either you want to make great fights, and you make great fights, and we love the great fights Turkey is making. I am all for them, and I think all of boxing. I speak for all boxing when I say keep them coming." Malaji praised the competitive matchups being made, but urged for a balanced approach that respects all fighters in the ring. His perspective highlights the need for boxing to focus on fairness alongside delivering excitement for fans. He also emphasized the risks in boxing and caution and against overconfidence in scripting results, particularly when matchups are so evenly balanced. He stated, "But stop talking like they're tune-up fights. Stop planning. You can't script this, especially when you're making very even matchups. You've seen yourself that there's a lot of upsets in the making." He voiced his disappointment and stated, "All right, this fight was almost an upset. It could have been an upset. And the spineless boxing media that never stops to surprise me."
Right away, just because Turkey was saying Crawford next, as soon as the fight's over, how many headlines did you see? Ortiz wins, eyes Crawford next.
All of
Ortiz wins, eyes. They are spineless. They have no backbone, no morals. They will kiss anybody's ass just to keep the momentum going. They've always been spineless. I've noticed it my whole career, and even after my career, they continue to be spineless. That was disgusting. Nobody clamoring in the media for a rematch where half the population thinks Bohachuk won. This was a fight of the year candidate. Bohachuk versus Ortiz rematch will be a better fight than Ortiz versus Crawford anyway. Ortiz versus Crawford is interesting. There's no way it's going to entertain the way Bohachuk and Ortiz just entertained and would entertain again. The fight to make, the future to make, the fight is Bohachuk and Ortiz and Bohachuk 2. Ortiz and Bohachuk 2. That's the fight to make.
Malikmaji advocated for a rematch between Ortiz and Bajak, suggesting it might offer more excitement than Ortiz versus Crawford. He stated, "And even after my career, they continued to be spineless. That was disgusting. Nobody was clamoring in the media for a rematch, or half the population thinks Bohachuk won. This was a fight of the year candidate." He further continued and highlighted the importance of the rematch, declaring it a better match, and stated Buck versus Ortiz rematch would be a better fight than Ortiz versus Crawford anyway. Crawford is interesting, but there's no way it's going to entertain the way Bajak and Ortiz entertain, and when entertain again, he emphasized the potential of a rematch and challenged the assumption that Ortiz versus Crawford is the most compelling fight on the horizon. He doubles down on his opinion that Ortiz versus Bajak is the fight to make next rather than Ortiz versus Crawford. He stated the fight to make the coming fight to make his Bajak and Ortiz and Bajak to that's the fight to make next. This remark underscores his belief in the entertainment value and competitive potential of a rematch, saying it may better serve fans and the sport. Meanwhile, Timothy Bradley also shared his thoughts on Ortiz's mindset, his growth as a fighter, and the practical considerations behind picking the next opponent. He stated, "Well, what would be my option? I'll follow the money. That's what every fighter's choice is going to be. Follow the money, where you're going to get the most money." Bradley began by acknowledging the financial side of boxing, pointing out that fighters often prioritize lucrative chances. This pragmatic method shapes much of the decision-making in the sport.
Vergil Ortiz says, I've watched him in the past do interviews about Terence Crawford. He feels that no one can beat him. I mean, just with him saying that, I don't even think that he believes that he can beat Terence.
He questioned Ortiz's confidence in taking on Crawford, noting that while Ortiz has a strong sense of self-worth, meeting Crawford may uncover limits he hasn't yet encountered. Bradley suggested that Ortiz still had room for improvement before facing such a formidable opponent, and Ortiz performed admirably Ortiz actually showed me and tested a lot of the things I was curious about, such as what happens when he falls, how long he can stay focused, and what the training is like after a fight. I had many questions, and he answered them all. He's a fantastic boxer. Bradley lauded Ortiz's performance and resilience, but he also underlined the importance of further improvement before facing someone of Crawford's caliber. He suggested about with Bajek as a more appropriate next step. Bradley elaborated on his belief that Ortiz's next move should be a rematch with Bajek, citing the close nature of their previous fight and the financial realities of the sport. He reflected on the intensity of the fight, saying he fought as hard as he could until the end and got the decision. However, many of us who were watching felt that Bajek won the fight. So what would I do? I would run it back, Bradley emphasized. The contentious conclusion and the merits of giving Bajek another chance in what might be a highly awaited rematch, but he also acknowledged the financial appeal of a prospective battle with Terence. Crawford stated, "Fighters are going to follow the money." The Terence-Crawford fight was to materialize for Vergil Ortiz. He will not pass it up, and I don't blame him. You want to know why? Because the money goes to good guys, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Well, he pushed for a rematch with Bajek. Bradley recognized the economic realities of boxing, suggesting that the Crawford fight might overshadow other considerations. Meanwhile, Chris and La next step. Just because Turkey says it doesn't mean it is. So speak with Oscar De La, Vergil Ortiz's promoter. He wasn't talking about fighting Terence. Crawford then said that De La had talked about other possible opponents, like Tinchu, suggesting that Ortiz might not have been his first choice. Crawford said that Ortiz's immediate target is Vergil Ortiz, who is probably the next biggest star in the division after Terence Crawford, so it makes sense in that way, but you have to see what Ortiz and his team want to do. After a very tough fight, many people thought that All might tell Ortiz that he needs to rest before taking on a tough opponent. All talked about how random boxing talks are, which suggests that Ortiz's path may not go as planned in the end.
This is business. It's not always the fights that seem the most obvious that get made. So I'm curious to see where this goes in the future. But like I said, De La Hoya was looking elsewhere before Turki Al-Sheikh had brought up the Crawford fight.
Teddy Atlas expressed excitement about Ortiz's potential and advocated for him to face elite opponents, such as Crawford T. Soon. Soon said, "I like him a lot. I admire him after the fight because of how he acts and talks. He is smart, a gentleman, and humble." Atlas praised Ortiz's demeanor and professionalism, saying that they go well with his charming qualities and make him a promising figure in the sport. "I like the way he fights. I like the way he's developing. That's the key word. Let him continue developing. He's young. Let him keep growing. Let him keep getting better. Keep him away from Crawford and those guys you just mentioned. There's no need to go there, right?" He was stressing how important it was for Ortiz to grow as a fighter, saying that a fight against Crawford or other top-tier opponents could ruin Ortiz's career. Atlas used similarities to historical figures to show how skilled he was. Ortiz might fight Crawford. His words showed that he was looking out for Ortiz's future and telling people to be patient instead of rushing into dangerous fights. Even though people are still arguing about what Vergil Ortiz should do next, the fighter himself has stayed focused on his goal. Ortiz said he wanted to fight Terence Crawford, whom he sees as the best fighter in the world at 154 pounds. Even though Ortiz admired Crawford, he stressed that he was sure he could beat him and saw a possible fight with Crawford as a test of his own skills and drive.
Fighters that you would like to fight coming up.
So we got Timzu, we got Crawford, Spence, or I guess you can say the winner of Spence or Fundora. Charlo's a good one. Who else we got at 54?
You want to fight Terence Crawford right now?
I would love to fight him, man. I think he's like probably the #1 pound for pound fighter right now.
Do you think he's out of his peak?
No.
Or is he in his peak now?
I think he's in his peak.
And you're saying you could beat a peak prime Terence Crawford?
I'm saying I believe that I can.
I respect it 100%.
I believe that I can. No, I respect him as a fighter though. That's the thing. When I want to fight people, it doesn't mean that, oh, I don't like you. Like, let's get it on. It's more like I respect your skills and I want to see if I can beat you.
What do you think? Can Vergil Ortiz take on one of the best boxers of our time and beat them? Post your ideas below, and don't forget to come back for more videos and news like this.